Hello and welcome back. This is Dr. Edward Padama, and this time we are going to discuss Introduction to Research. So before we start, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell to alert you when a new video is uploaded in my channel. So let's start. Let us first establish the meaning of research. So by definition, in our online dictionary, research is defined as the systematic investigation into and the study of materials and resources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. So usually when we talk about research, the first thing that comes into the minds of students or writers is that it involves a tedious investigation, a tedious process. Okay, but what I want you to observe is how the word research is presented in the dictionary. It is composed of two words. It is a conjugation of two words, the prefix re and the word search. Re refers to repeat, and search, which is the main word, refers to look for. So a repetition of a process which looks for. Usually, in this case, a research looks for or arrives at an answer. Okay, so why do you repeat the action of searching? Repeating is a manifestation of validation. So when you repeat something, you want to validate that the facts that you have are correct, true, and accurate. Now, to simplify what we have discussed earlier in our definition of research, research is a scholarly, careful, and detailed study into a specific problem, concern, or issue using a scientific method to arrive at a solution. So if we are going to dissect this particular definition, you will be able to see that research already has a specific process to follow. When you conduct research, there is a prerequisite, which is a problem. So the initiation of a research was triggered by a particular specific and relevant problem. You conducted the research because you want to find a solution, an answer, or a recommendation for a problem that you have at hand. And then in the middle of this research, you have the actual investigation or the action that you did in order to arrive at the solution. So what is the process that I was talking about earlier? You have the problem, you have the action, and then you have the solution. To illustrate the research process, we have the IPO diagram or input, process, output. In the input, you have the problem. In the process or the action, we have the investigation. And at the output, we have the solution. The prerequisite of a research is to establish and identify a valid and relevant problem. Your research starts with a problem, and the characteristic and classification and category of this problem is that number one, it should be valid and relevant. And also during the course of our discussion in the future, you would also encounter the word research gap. Your problem should identify or should involve a research gap in order for your research to be considered as valid. The next one, the appropriate action to be taken to tackle the problem is called the investigation or the research process. And the last one, the solution or the output contains the findings, conclusions, and recommendations derived from the action taken. So if you're going to observe, all of these three are interconnected and related to each other. So from the problem, you take an action relevant to the problem, and then you come up with a solution relevant to the investigation that you conducted. Now we move on to the different types of research, and these are quantitative and qualitative research. So by definition, quantitative research is used to measure the problem by way of generating numerical data or data that can be transformed into usable statistics. It is used to quantify opinions, behaviors, and other defined variables and generalize results from a larger sample population. Before we move on to qualitative research, the main feature of quantitative research is that it is measurable. So when we talk about quantitative, you should be able to measure the result of your research through the use of numerical data. That is why quantitative research utilizes statistics or statistical formulas in order to interpret the data that was collected or generated. While on the qualitative research, this involves the collecting and analyzing non-numerical data to understand concepts, opinions, or experiences. So if you're going to compare this with quantitative research, all of the data gathered here, like concepts, opinions, or experiences, cannot be measured and cannot be quantified through the use of numerical data. To continue, it can be used to gather in-depth insights into a problem or generate new ideas for research. So the main difference between quantitative research and qualitative research is that quantitative research can be measured, it uses numerical data, and it uses statistics in order to interpret this data. While in qualitative research, this cannot be measured, it does not use or utilize numeric data or statistics. Another difference between quantitative and qualitative is that quantitative uses hypotheses, while in qualitative research, hypothesis is not required. So to specify the differences and to emphasize the differences between quantitative and qualitative research, we have the following table. So on the left side, you have the quantitative research and qualitative research on the right side. So in quantitative research, this focuses on testing of theories and hypotheses as discussed earlier. So high quantitative research utilizes hypotheses, while on the other hand, in qualitative research, this focuses on exploring ideas and formulating a theory or hypothesis. Observe the process of quantitative research and the process of qualitative research. They are the opposite. So in quantitative research, you test theories and hypotheses, while like I said, reversed on the qualitative, this one explores ideas, and in the end of your qualitative research, you formulate a hypothesis or a theory. The second, under quantitative research, analyzed through mathematics or through the use of mathematics and statistical analysis. While on qualitative research, this is analyzed by summarizing, categorizing, and interpreting the feedbacks that you were able to get from your respondents. So we have already discussed this earlier that quantitative research can be quantified through the use of statistics because the data gathered is in numeric form, while in qualitative research, this is non-numeric form, and this is in the form of observations and interviews. The third one, under quantitative research, mainly expressed in numbers, graphs, and tables, while in the qualitative research, this is expressed in words. So since we utilize statistics, we interpreted numerical data, then these will be organized in graphs or through tables. While in qualitative research, the interviews, the opinions given by the respondents will be presented through narrative presentation. The next one, under quantitative, this requires many respondents, while under qualitative research, the respondents are few. Okay, the next one, closed questions like multiple choice. While on the qualitative research, this is open-ended questions wherein the respondents can express their ideas without being limited on options or choices. And the last one, under quantitative research, the key terms are testing, measurement, objectivity, and replicability, meaning quantitative research, even if you replicate or do the research all over again, the same result should be presented. While under qualitative research, the key terms are understanding, context, complexity, and subjectivity. Other differences of quantitative and qualitative research can be observed in the data collection method. So under quantitative research, it utilizes survey as one of the instruments available. So survey is defined as the list of closed or multiple choice questions that is distributed to a sample or group of respondents. This is through online, in-person, or over the phone. Another is the method used in quantitative research, and one of these methods is the experimental method. This is a situation in which the variables are controlled and manipulated to establish the cause and effect relationships. So if you want to put into an experiment a strategy in teaching, you use two classes. The first class can be the controlled group, and the second class can be the experimental group, wherein you implement the new strategy in teaching. Okay, so this is called the experimental method. Another is observations. This observes subjects in a natural environment where variables can't be controlled. Observation does not require the writer to participate. They only look, listen, and write down what they have observed. Under qualitative data collection method, you have interview as one of the instruments that can be used to gather data. Again, these are just a few of the instruments that can be used to gather data. So interview is the asking of open-ended questions verbally to respondents. So this does not use questionnaires or printed survey forms in order to gather data. The next one is another strategy in collecting data, which is focus groups. This is a discussion among a group of people about a particular topic to gather popular opinions that can be used for further research. The next one is ethnography, participating in a community or organization for an extended period of time to closely observe culture and behavior. So how is this different from observation? In ethnography, or when you conduct ethnography, which is a type of qualitative research, you immerse yourself in a community, organization, or a group in order to observe their culture and behavior. So that is the difference between observations and ethnography. And observation is a form of data collection, while ethnography is a type of qualitative research. The next one is literature review. So this one surveys published works by other authors. Actually, in quantitative data collection, you also have literature reviews. So this will be part of both quantitative and qualitative research. And this is called the review of related literature and studies, or otherwise known as RRL. And now, the most common question that has been asked from me time and time again: what are example research titles can we propose under quantitative and qualitative research? So again, research titles should be relevant and should answer a research gap based from the other research that has already been conducted. So this research proposal that you will be presenting should be novel and new. So what are these examples? So one is knowledge and practices towards COVID-19 among parents in the Philippines. Since we are still under a pandemic, try to incline towards the problem, which is not just national but international, not only in your country but all over the world, and try to formulate and present your problem based on this particular uh, dilemma that we are having or being confronted right now, which is COVID-19. Okay, so the next is sustainability of online learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now this one is more specific because it is inclined towards education, teaching, learning, and education. So how sustainable are online learning institutions, programs, or system during the COVID-19 pandemic? So these titles can still be uh, rephrased or rearranged to make it more specific. So that's another characteristic of a research title. Not only that it should be novel, new, relevant, but it should also be specific. Number 3, the preparedness of educational system or of the educational system during the COVID-19 pandemic. Which particular educational system are we talking about here? So again, you can rephrase the title to make it suitable in your situation or in your locale, and try to tailor it according to your work environment and to your particular need. The third is the socio-economic implications or impact of the coronavirus pandemic. So again, this can still be rephrased to make it more specific. Number 15, challenges and opportunities for higher education amid the COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippine context. And then I think this is the last one, towards sustainable learning during school suspensions, socioeconomic, occupational aspirations, and learning behaviors of Arellano University students during COVID-19. Now, this one is still very vague. It has a lot of variables. And if you are going to do that, then your research would extend through all of these variables, and the correlation of these variables should be solid enough and founded enough for you to be able to defend this in your research defense. And the last one, mobile learning in higher education, an avoidable alternative during COVID-19. So some of these were taken from the following references. So all of this fall under quantitative research titles.
And under the qualitative research titles, I came up with the following. Number one, the role of a learning management system during the COVID-19 pandemic. Again, this proposed title is inclined towards the educational system during the COVID-19 pandemic. The second is the beliefs and practices of Christians in the Philippines. Third, the wedding traditions of the Ifugaos. Fourth, the accuracy of events in the life of Jose P. Rizal. Fifth, the evolution of education in the Philippines, how COVID-19 changed the landscape of the Philippine education. So again, these are some qualitative research titles that you can use or that can serve as your guide in formulating if you are conducting a qualitative research.
And again, we reached the end of our discussion. I would like to thank you for joining me in this discussion of Introduction to Research. Please click the subscribe button and the notification bell to alert you when a new video is uploaded. And if you have any question regarding research writing, just write your questions at the comment box below and I'll immediately get back to you. So again, thank you and stay safe. God bless. See you on the next video. Bye.